There is danger every corner of the way for people who decide to become beyonders in order to obtain supernatural powers. When our main character Klein Moretti becomes a Beyonder and joins the Nighthawks, a Beyonder organization that works to protect normal human beings from the Beyonder world, our main character Klein isn't told, hey, we're heroes, we're superheroes, we save people from the monsters in the dark that people are afraid of when they go to sleep at night. No, he's actually told that, yes, we are guardians, but also a bunch of miserable wretches that are constantly fighting against threats and madness. There is a reason why every time Lord of the Mysteries readers see this quote, they either shed a tear, get PTSD, and or get goosebumps, because this quote means just so much. It accurately sums up the world of Lord of the Mysteries in a way that is just so profound. When you choose to become a Beyonder in the world of Lord of the Mysteries, you are not becoming Superman or getting injected with some super soldier serum. No, instead you are actually imposing upon yourself many latent dangers that could ultimately end your life in the matter of seconds. In the quote, it is stated that Beyonders constantly fight against threats and madness, because the dangers once you become a Beyonder are not limited to just having enemies who want to cut your head off and kill you, because in actuality having an enemy that is so defined and clear as that would actually be a blessing. Because in this situation, at least you know that, hey, that guy is bad news for me. He literally wants to cut my head off. But in the case of madness, it is so much more ambiguous and dangerous than that. The most prime example of this being in the character of Old Neil. When Klein first entered into the world of Beyonders, Old Neil was his teacher and guided Klein in every step of the way. He would warn Klein about the dangers of being a Beyonder and things to look out for. But despite all of this wisdom and knowledge, Old Neil ultimately still lost control and became a monster that was unrecognizable from who he was. When you become a Beyonder, you start hearing voices that start tempting you and start targeting whatever is your most vulnerable weakness. For Old Neil, this target or vulnerability was his old lover that died when he was still very young and inexperienced. At first, when the novel showed that Old Neil was showing signs of losing control, I was in disbelief, because it seemed impossible that someone as experienced and wise as Old Neil would lose control. But when it is revealed that Old Neil has in fact lost control, I broke down because of just how cruel and dangerous the world of Lord of the Mysteries was. From the perspective of an outsider, it seems obvious that the voices are malevolent, as they're tempting you with the possibility of reviving a dead or deceased lover. But you have to understand that Old Neil was most likely hearing these voices ever since the day that his lover died. Much like how rocks will turn into sand due to repeated pressure from the waves of the ocean, it's inevitable that anyone, no matter how resistant they are, will ultimately fall victim to the temptations of the voices. I'm sorry for bringing up past trauma for Lord of the Mystery readers, but I just want to make it clear and just set in stone just how cruel the world of Lord of the Mysteries is, and how dangerous the world can be if you're not the main character who has access to a mysterious place above the gray fog that basically serves as a free get out of jail card. If you're very far into the novel, it can get especially very easy to forget how dangerous it is to live in the world of Lord of the Mysteries, because you could be minding your own business, you could be a patron of many charitable organizations, but if some cult member or some cultist decides to sacrifice your whole town to an evil god and have them descend upon the earth, then there's really nothing you can do except just hope that whatever organization that your area is in, whether it be under the jurisdiction of the Nighthawks, the mandated Punishers, or the Machinery Hive Mind, you better hope and pray that there is someone among them that can stop it, because if not, then hundreds of thousands of people are gonna die, maybe even more, just because some lunatic decided to sacrifice your whole place. But that's not what the video is about, as I'm not here to discuss about how dangerous it would be to live in the world of Lord of the Mysteries, as I'm here to talk about my love for the power system and how deep it is. In terms of the dangers that exist in the world of Lord of the Mysteries and the tragic fates that could befall anybody, I could go on and probably have a very long video, but that's not what makes Lord of the Mysteries unique, because anybody can make a dark, depressing world where there's no sign of hope whatsoever. What makes Lord of the Mysteries unique is it balances this sense of hopelessness and tragedy with a sense of hope. A prime example of this being in the Church of the Evernight Goddess and the Church of the Storm God. On one side, the Church of the Evernight Goddess believes that women should have rights and that they are their own free individuals, whereas the Church of the Storm God doesn't quite so agree. But despite all of their differences, when civilians face danger and there is an incident or situation happening, all of them put their differences aside and put the civilians that they are in charge of protecting first. And I just find something so beautiful about this, that despite their disagreements, all of them can just come together as one and work for a unified purpose. I don't know how much sense that I am making right now, but I just wanted to talk about how the power system of Lord of the Mysteries is just so unique, because instead of being the source of hope for the novel, the power system is rather kind of like the cause of every problem in the series. Of course, it can grant you magical and mystical powers, but more likely than not, it'll also impose on you some drawbacks that are very real and would most likely cause you to rethink whether if it's worthy or not. I just find it so unique that the author Cuttlefish is able to create these amazing pathways where you are offered enticing and very alluring abilities, but in spite of all of these enticements, he's able to make you rethink whether you really want this or not.